Geometry Dash is a frustrating game.
No, I spilled Pepsi.
Whether it's because of a death at the end of a level, a part that never gets consistent, or a mysterious force that prevents you from saving your data, every GD player has been frustrated at some point. Although the causes and magnitudes of frustration are subjective, some levels are notorious for being more frustrating than the rest. In order to determine the pinnacle of Geometry Dash frustration, I asked the top 100 players what the most frustrating levels on the demon list are. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking like that, because one, I have your attention, and two, that's just annoying. So the actual first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a quick overview on the experiment as a whole. I'll tell you what I asked the players, why I asked those specific questions, and I'll go over the kind of complex algorithm I used to tally up the results. Then I'll give you guys some insight onto what some of the individual players actually said. So one, you can get to know them a little bit better, and two, maybe you can make an educated guess on what the final results are going to be. Then we're going to go over the top 5 most frustrating extended lists and top 5 most frustrating main lists. Finally, to close this video out, I will be doing a practice run or two on the winner of both the extended list and the main list. I did put some timestamps in the description just in case you want to skip around to some other part of this video, but if you do that, all I ask is that you please like the video, consider subscribing, and drop a comment down below letting me know what you think the top 5 most frustrating main lists and extended lists are going to be. Alright, so let's get started. I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about how I came up with the structure and the parameters of this experiment. So intuition tells us that harder levels will generally be more frustrating than easier ones, so I decided to restrict this experiment to only the demon list as of March 21st, 2025, which is when the experiment began. Furthermore, I separated the main list and extended list into 2 separate categories just in case the main list overshadowed the extended list due to their sheer difficulty. I feel like this is also just more interesting because it gives the perspective on 2 different difficulty ranges in the game. So that's why we're going to end up having a top 5 for the main list and for the extended list. So after I narrowed down the scope of this experiment to just the demon list, I realized that I needed a sample of very reliable opinions so that way I can be pretty confident in the results. In order to minimize bias and maximize objectivity, I decided that the best course of action would be for me to beat every single level on the demon list so that way I could tell you with confidence which ones are most frustrating. Unfortunately, I do want this video to come out probably within the next 5 years or so I did have to scrap that idea and go with my backup plan. Instead, I asked the top 100 players ranked on the Pointer Crate Stats Viewer what the top 2 most frustrating main lists are and the top 2 most frustrating extended lists are. In an effort to make the results a little bit more reliable, I did clarify that they had to only include levels that they have beaten or at the very least have in 2 runs. Additionally, I asked them to explain why they chose the levels that they chose using the following descriptors. So we got experience, balancing, choke points, inconsistencies, bugs, boredom, sheer difficulty, and external factors. I did not have to look at the script to remember that. The players were asked to list all of them that applied and to go into more detail if they so desired. So now that you guys know what I asked the players and why, I'm going to try to explain the algorithm I used to tally up the final results. Now this was actually really fun to develop and execute because I was able to apply some skills that I gained through earning a degree in applied mathematics. But with that being said, it does get kind of complicated. So if anyone needs me to explain this a bit better down in the comments, just let me know. Alright, so earlier I mentioned that I asked each player to name the top 2 most frustrating main lists and top 2 most frustrating extended lists. The reason for that is because if they nominated a level as the second most frustrating level on one of those lists, that level gets 1 point. If they nominated it as the most frustrating level on either list, that level gets 2 points. Then I added them all up. I highly recommend that no one tries to recreate this experiment because it really doesn't get any more efficient or objective than this. This is the single best method that I was able to come up with, and I know that none of you guys in the comments would be able to do any better. So just sit back and relax and just let the expert handle this stuff, all right? In all seriousness, that's the entire experiment. So let's take a look at what some individual people said. So we're going to start with the player who's number 10 on the... Is he number 10? Wait. I did not fact check this. I should have done that earlier. Yeah, okay, he's number 10. So we're going to start with the player's number 10 on the stats viewer and generally a fan favorite, and we're going to take a look at Whizkid's response. Whizkid's pick for the most frustrating main list was Anathema, and his pick for the most frustrating extended list was checked Steam. Now this was mostly due to him verifying both levels and the immense pressure that comes with that privilege. He said that checked Steam felt like playing a hyper buffed 3-star, which made it very unfun, and it was also really hard for him to gauge the difficulty of it. Anathema, on the other hand, was a level that had been hyped up for years and needed to meet the community's expectations. Whizkid also wasn't allowed to get any playtesters for Anathema, so if the level wasn't good, he would be solely responsible for handling the backlash. I do want to add that Whizkid made it very clear that Nicro was very kind and caring during the verification process, so good job, Nicro. According to Super Javicon, nothing could possibly be worse than ordinary. In fact, it was so bad that it has made nightmare experiences with other levels feel completely fine. He is currently having a battle with Slaughterhouse with over 50 deaths at Cuber's part from 0, but he said he's chilling just because it's not ordinary. Paco shared a similar mindset, however it wasn't with the level on the demon list. She said that Element 111 RG is genuinely 10 times worse than any rated level she's ever played. This includes top levels like Silent Clubstep and Acheron. Speaking of Acheron, Mizuki describes the choke point carry nature of this top 10 as, quote, "What is that only Ohio level?" End quote. He went on to explain that his deaths felt completely random throughout his entire experience, which led to the level getting extremely boring. Mizuki shared similar experiences with Launchpad Labyrinth, which he stated to be the most frustrating level on the extended list. Choke points such as the 16% ship, the robot yellow orb, and the infamous portal click wave made the level unbearable to play. PersonHuman42 nominated Kinos and Renovant as his 2 frustrating list demons, partially because of their boring pre-drops. He describes Kinos as a 20-second auto-scroller which then thrusts you into the hardest section of the level. Adding to the frustration was the abundance of invisible hitboxes and blatant bugs. If you aren't familiar with this level, I highly recommend you check out his video going over every issue he found while playing it. It's very eye-opening. Renovant was certainly more functional than Kinos, however the dark screen overlay combined with offensive choke points turned his experience into a nightmare. He also shared his disdain for the hallucination, which was also picked by Water Bottle. Water explained that the level is not only incredibly buggy, but also just barely off sync. This layer of artificial difficulty ruined their entire experience. Water also said that they watched my video, so shout out Water, because that's pretty cool. Heading back over to Acheron, Sharkified explained that the level is the worst on the main list because of its boring and choke point carry nature. Fun fact, when they participated in this experiment, they had 97 from 0 and 17 to 100 times 4. They had been really struggling with the level for a long time, but ended up beating it 2 days later, so GG's to Sharkified. Not Danny describes Acheron as mediocre from runs and really bad from 0. Their experience consisted of getting nowhere for 30 minutes, getting to the second half multiple times within 10 minutes, dying to choke points, and then getting nowhere again. Acheron got very boring very fast, similar to Promethean. This level is very second half heavy and basically warns that you'll die too many times at the last ship. I haven't done any research to confirm this, but Not Danny claims that there's even a frame perfect in that very part. We all know that Promethean is Zeronium's least favorite extended list, but some of you might not know that his least favorite main list is Shuketsu. Unlike most nominations in this experiment, Zeronium actually thinks the base gameplay of Shuketsu is amazing. This was purely an experience-driven pick, and if you've seen his video on it, you'll understand why. Speaking of experiences from hell, Nickname 09 had to rebeat Super Hate Me World after already having a difficult time with it. Unfortunately, he wasn't alone since Hammy had to rebeat both Combustion and Kosetsu. This should serve as a solid reminder to make sure your shadow play is enabled at the start of every session, and periodically check your audio settings as well. There are certainly other ways to have bad experiences aside from needing to rebeat a difficult level. Vikings, for example, died at 98% 4 times on Descent into Exile. To make matters even worse, they had to leave for vacation after the second time. That means Viking died to the last click twice, lost consistency, came back to the level, and then died at 98 2 more times. The only thing that can top that is dying to the last click of Thinking Space 8 times like Dice88 did. Really putting the 8 in his name. He found both Thinking Space and Hard Machine very boring, and his experiences did not help. Esby had the same picks for his extended list nominations. Similar to Dice, he found both levels incredibly boring and struggled with individual choke points. Most notably was the UFO spam in Hard Machine. This part never got consistent for Esby, leading to a very frustrating and boring experience. Trying to beat a level that's harder than anything you've ever done before can be very frustrating. What's even more frustrating is when you don't realize that a level will be your new hardest until after you start playing it. This was the case for Abdil Devil with Tunnel of Despair. He started playing it when it was number 20 on the list and placed below their hardest demon at the time. Eventually it did get raised up, but that's not where the frustrations ended. He got 94% and then lost all his consistency due to exams, practicing for the Slaughterhouse race, and then going on vacation. There were several people in this experiment who were quite passionate about Silent Clubstep being the worst level in the entire game. Quivert was no exception. He described the pre-drop ship as a filter that eliminates over 97% of your attempts and then leads you to multiple frame perfects immediately after. The pre-drop was so miserable that getting a new best of 30% was enough to make him emotional and then drop the level. As for extended lists, he was adamant that none of them were anywhere near as bad as Ego Killing, which fell off the list a little while ago. When you buff one of the worst levels in the game, chances are you're going to create one of the worst levels in the game. That's exactly how Franzi described Sonic Wave Infinity. He said there was no chance for it to be good. However, he also mentioned that both the Dryout Copyable 2 and Ruthless were worse than any levels on the main list. He wasn't alone in that line of thinking either, with Jerpa nominating Sonic Wave Infinity as the worst main list, and then clarifying that Amalgam is the worst wave level on the entire list. Before continuing, I do want to clarify I did have to consult a few people outside of the top 100 just to get a few more responses. There were 8 people I just couldn't contact due to me not being able to find their Discord or Twitter, or them just having their DMs closed. So then out of the 92 participants remaining, I got a response from 68 of them. The rest of them, I guess I'm not famous enough for something like that. I don't know. Initially, I wanted 100 responses, but I was very concerned that my Discord account was going to get either limited or just straight up terminated. After doing like the 30th DM, I had to do a CAPTCHA every single time I opened up a new DM, and I was very worried that each one was going to be my last. So eventually, I did settle with 75 responses, 68 from inside the top 100, and then 7 from people in the 100 to 200 range. And the reason I am mentioning this is because I do want to briefly go over an anecdote made by Helix. He nominated TrueFet as his second most frustrating main list and described the level as what happens when you make the timings as hard as the waves in a wave level. I found this very interesting since I've never heard anyone describe a level like this. However, it does actually make a lot of sense. Personally, I think we've been in this section for long enough, so let's get into the final results. Just to reiterate, a level gets 1 point if it's nominated as second, and 2 points if it gets nominated as first. There were a couple ties in here, so I'm going to go over the top 5 point values rather than just the top 5 levels. So coming in at number 5, we actually have a tie with 2 levels getting 10 points, one of which being Amalgam. 4 people chose this as the most frustrating extended list, and 2 people chose this as the second most frustrating extended list. I actually predicted this to either win or get second, so I was very surprised that it only got 6 nominations. This level doesn't need much explanation since it's 4 very difficult wave challenges with awkward gameplay in between them. I do want to add though that this is probably the best song in the extended list, and if you disagree you're wrong and you definitely need to subscribe. Moving on to the other level that got 10 points, we have Fragile. This level was chosen 5 times as the most frustrating extended list, and no nominations for the second most frustrating. The players who chose this level all had similar complaints, with the first 2% being impossible and the rest of the co-errata part being very inconsistent. Getting to the extension is so difficult that dying to anything towards the end of the level is very, very frustrating. Coming in at 4th place with a total of 13 points, we have Shimmer. This level got chosen 6 times as the most frustrating level on the extended list and once as the second most frustrating level on the extended list. The common complaint with Shimmer is the balancing. Everyone who chose this level said that the pre-drop is way too hard and every single wave in the drop is a major choke point, especially in the ending. Having numerous ending deaths on Shimmer seems to be the average experience, just adding to the frustrations. Entering the top 3 with 14 points, we have Super Hate Me World. This level was chosen by 5 people as the most frustrating extended list and 4 times as the second most frustrating extended list. This was not at all a surprise to me since this level was engineered to be frustrating. An impossible pre-drop, long spam sections, brutal choke points, an impossible ending, and a terrible song made this a nightmare experience for multiple players in this experiment. Malini even went as far to say that this level made him hate ice caves for a while. Moving on to the runner-up for the extended list, in second place with a total of 15 points, we have Promethean. Any level that is designed to make players die a lot at the ending is bound to be frustrating. This level got chosen 6 times as the most frustrating and 3 times as the second most frustrating. In addition to the ending being impossible, there are random choke points scattered throughout the level. You either die to the choke points in the first half or get to the second half every attempt, which gets boring very quickly. Once again, I was not surprised at all to see this level go so high in the standings. However, I was slightly surprised by the winner. The level in first place with a total of 19 points and the most frustrating level on the extended list is Hard Machine. This level was chosen 7 times as the most frustrating level, which on its own is enough points to make it into the top 3. It was also chosen 5 times as the second most frustrating level on the extended list, securing its spot as the winner. The main complaint about this level is that it's impressively boring. In hindsight, this should be relatively obvious since it's based on an old impossible level, but I will do a practice run soon to find out for myself. So how many extended lists did you guys get right? Personally, I got 3 out of the technically 6 top 5s. So let me know how you guys did down in the comments. But for now, it is time to move on to the main list. There were even more ties on the main list than the extended list. So just like last time, we're going to do the top 5 point values rather than the top 5 levels. So coming in at number 5, we're starting off with a tie right away. One of the levels that got 7 points is Arcturus. For those of you who don't know, Arcturus used to be an old impossible level. In 2021, it was nerfed down to be top 1 at the time, and man, it sucks. I actually do have a small amount of experience playing this level since I thought about doing it as a new hardest, but I dropped it after 6k attempts. Now, if you know me, I never drop levels, so that is a testament to how ass this level is. The pre-drop is boring, there are so many random auto sections, the mini wave is an absolute brick wall, and every transition was the worst thing I had ever seen. This was chosen twice as the most frustrating main list and 3 times as the second most frustrating main list. The other level with the same point value and the same breakdown of nominations is the hallucination. Most people who nominated this level had similar complaints. It said that the pre-drop was impossible and the transitions in the drop were terrible. Making a pre-drop unnecessarily difficult causes nerves to build earlier in the level, which on its own can cause frustrations. In addition to having those nerves, people who played the hallucination also have the nerves of not wanting to die to bugs scattered throughout the level. I'm not sure if the bugs are 2.2 related or not, but either way I hope they get fixed. Moving on to number 4, we do have another tie with 2 levels getting 10 points, one of which being Kinos. This level was nominated 7 times total, with 3 votes for first place and 4 votes for second place. The issues with this level are somewhat similar to the issues with the hallucination, being the pre-drop, the balancing, and bugs. As mentioned earlier, the pre-drop in this level is described as an auto-scroller, and the first wave is by far the hardest part of the level. You sit through the pre-drop every attempt just to die to the first wave a million times. If you somehow get past it, chances are you're going to die to a bug or an invisible hitbox. The other level with 10 points is none other than Tartarus. This level was chosen 4 times as the most frustrating and 2 times as the second most frustrating level on the main list. Everyone knows about the ultra choke point carry nature of Tartarus, so I'll give you the TLDR. The pre-drop never gets consistent, 31 to 33 never gets consistent, 45 is an RNG transition into a fixed hitbox straight fly, and the last 30% is riddled with choke points that are sure to kill your runs from 0. It doesn't help that 97 and 98 is one of the hardest choke points in the level, almost guaranteeing that you'll die at the end. Similar to many other former top 1s, this level is not a fun experience. Breaking into the top 3, we have one level with 11 points, and it is none other than Sonic Wave Infinity. This level was chosen 3 times as the most frustrating level, and 5 times as the second most frustrating level. This level is described as a more awkward and more boring version of Sonic Wave. Zeronium actually just released an hour-long video on a Sonic Wave Infinity experience where he describes the level as one you beat for a challenge, not for a fun experience. A fun fact, this level was actually winning the experiment for a while, but eventually got overtaken by the levels up next. In second place, we actually have a 3-way tie at 14 points. One of those very levels is Zodiac. This was chosen 5 times as the most frustrating main list and 4 times as the second most frustrating main list. Similar to Tartarus and technically Sonic Wave Infinity and technically Kinos now, Zodiac is a former top 1, so I think we're starting to see a trend. Where this differs from the aforementioned levels is that the main difficulty is due to the mental strength required to push through the balancing. This level starts off pretty reasonable and doing decent runs is deceptively easy. The difficulty comes in getting past TMN and failure consistently and then not dying to the numerous choke points in the last third. This is one of those levels that seems extremely accessible and doesn't take people a significant amount of attempts to beat. However, this is incredibly deceiving and most people don't fully understand what they're getting themselves into when they start to make progress. Continuing the former top 1 trend, another level that got 14 points is Acheron. This level got chosen 6 times as the most frustrating level and twice as the second most frustrating level. I spoke a lot about Acheron earlier in the video, so I'll keep this part brief. Everyone described this level as inconsistent due to the choke points and setup base clicks scattered everywhere. No matter how many runs you do to 100 or how many attempts you grind from 0, your progress feels out of your control. The third and final level in this 3-way tie for second place is Unknown. Speaking of Unknown, that's the name of my tier 4 channel membership, which you guys should all check out right now. It's the exact same thing as tier 3, but it's 10 times the price. I highly recommend it. Anyways, this level was chosen 4 times as the most frustrating level and 6 times as the second most frustrating level. This should come as no surprise to anyone because, I mean, just look at it. The first click is impossible, and the rest of the level is filled with absurd difficulty spikes. 2 of the most offensive choke points are the upwards wave spam and the last 13%. Almost everyone dies at the end of Unknown numerous times, which makes getting stuck at the first click even more boring. Every single level in Geometry can be frustrating to someone. Some are more frustrating than the others, and one might be more frustrating than the rest. There's one level that hasn't been mentioned yet that got more points than any other level on the entire list. That level is Slaughterhouse. Yeah, I'm not trying to get copyrighted, so you guys get the replacement song. Slaughterhouse earned itself a record-breaking 20 points with 8 nominations for the most frustrating level and 4 nominations for second place. This level is mind-numbingly boring due to a slow, long, and impossible pre-drop. You then have a blind transition into one of the hardest 4-time speed waves you've ever seen, and the misery doesn't end there. To see how frustrating the 2 winners are, I'm going to do a practice run of both, starting with Hard Machine. I'm kind of surprised that Hard Machine won. I really didn't Yeah, that's cool. You can just do that. As I said, I'm really surprised at this one. I didn't think that this level was that bad. I've never played it, not once, but I didn't think it was that bad. I was actually going to do this as my new hardest instead of the golden, but I guess I'm really glad I didn't now. I think this is one of those levels that is a lot harder than it looks, because, yeah, the raw gameplay doesn't look that terrible at most spots. And don't take that the wrong way. I'm not saying I'm going to breeze through this, because, this still is harder than my hardest demon. But I feel like it's kind of like a Zodiac thing, where, yeah, it definitely looks hard, but you don't realize how hard it is until you're actually playing it. Also, I take forever to do practice runs, because because I try to actually do like small runs. So it's gonna take a while. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Dude, if Waterflame copyrights this video, I'm actually gonna be so pissed. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be doing any big runs anyway because I suck at this game. But like, you know, there's always a chance. Waterflame will do anything for a little extra cash. All right, I think I just did like 2 to 8 or 3 to 8 or something like that. So that's pretty cool. All right, this ship is the first part that actually looks like really hard. Like, what is that, bro? This looks really difficult. And yeah, these timings are pretty easy. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you just get to here and just die every attempt. That would be pretty, okay, well, yeah, you could die like that. That'd be pretty annoying. I'm assuming this has got to be like the Arcturus 73 ship where you just got to find a click pattern and do it in as few clicks as humanly possible. It's like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there we go. It's like, this is really, I don't know, it's like, it's not hard to do at once, but I guess it's going to be stringing the runs together that's hard. Because yeah, it's above Cold Sweat for a reason, so like, this level's not free. Oh, dude, I just did the whole ship. Like, that's not even bad. Okay, I think now we get to the frame perfect. Was that it? Wait, was that really it? Did I just like accidentally do it? No, sure. It has to be that one, right? I think there's a frame perfect somewhere in this section. I just don't know where. Maybe it's a different cube. I don't know. I'm not very well versed on my hard machine knowledge. Surely it's not this one because this jump is like not that hard. Oh no. Oh, don't tell me there's memory. I don't know what to do here. I guess maybe we'll try 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Maybe. Okay, maybe not. Just not a hold. Oh, there we go. All right, now we got whatever this is. Like, dude, why do we have to do this? Why do you have to put this in your level? Getting past all of that just to die to this nonsense. I can understand why this is annoying. Yeah, okay. And then we just get the blindest transition ever. That's fantastic. Okay, so this is the ball that looks really impossible. Like, this is the part I'm probably the most scared of in the entire level. Except for one other part, which you guys can probably guess. Ooh. Oh my god, I did the whole part. Let's go. That wasn't even that bad. I feel like this next part with the mirror portals is going to be really... Okay, actually, never mind. Oh, no, I did that whole part like first try. Now I'm going to die this a million times. No, I'm going to get stuck here for an hour. Dude, if you mind block one of these mirror portal clicks, it's actually over. You might as well just drop the level. Because like, how do you get rid of a mind block on a click that you can't see? Maybe there's some type of auditory cue you can use or something. But if not, then I think it's actually just over at that point. You got to quit the game. No, I did the same. No, I did not do the same thing. Okay. All right, so that was the first part of the level that I actually feel like would be a big problem. And I think this ship as well is not going to be any different because now we're about 40% into the level. So, I mean, at least for me, I would definitely be getting nervous by now. So then doing a ship that's this tight with the nerves of getting past that ball, this would be tough. Yeah. Oh, I did it. Okay, let's go. All right, so everyone says this part's really easy coming up, so I'm really not even worried about the spam. Okay, I messed up the first time, but that doesn't count. Watch this. Oh shit. Okay, maybe it is really hard. I'm really not good at alternating. Like I'm really not good at alternating. I don't know why I still want to go for this. I feel like it's definitely not a good idea. I could really oh, okay, there we go. I could really cheese that though, because I can use 3 inputs pretty easily on controller, and that is allowed on the list. So like if I started really struggling, I could just use the A button and both bumpers, and I feel like that'd be a good strat. Oh my god, this is so much harder than the one in Frozen Cave. Bro, the one in Frozen Cave didn't give me any issues. I didn't die to it from 0 once. Oh, I did it twice in a row? Okay, we're getting better at it. We're getting consistent. Dude, I can't do the orbs, bro. I actually have like a more than 50% pass rate on the spam right now, and I can't do the orbs once. Oh my god. There we go. Oh my god, finally. I can definitely see that UFO spam being a huge issue for a lot of people. I feel like if I went for this, I feel like I'd be okay with it. Because like I was able to do the cold sweat UFO. It's like a little UFO spam, that ain't gonna hurt. But then this ship right after is apparently one of the hardest parts as well. So I could definitely see where a lot of the frustrations are coming from. Because you have this UFO spam that just kills you most of the time. And then the orbs right after as well, which gets you quite a bit. And then you get to the hardest part of the level. Nope, that's not at all what you were supposed to do. Oh, that's where it is. 1, 2... Wait, what? Isn't this part free? What happened? I must have just gotten a bad transition. All right, let's try to go like really high up on the portal. Like that. Okay, let's see what happens here. 1, 2... Yes! Yes! We did it. Let's go. Yeah, it was just a bad transition. Okay, that's... Dude, can you imagine dying like that from 0? Okay, now this part looks really impossible. Oh, wait, only that first spike is real? Okay, that's not as bad, but still. I've heard that this is one of the harder parts as well. It's like your ship just goes invisible. It goes behind all that decoration. This is like the most nerve control ship I've ever seen in my life. More so than the one at the end of the Golden, because the one at the end of the Golden is just stupid and hard. This one just requires trust. Do you trust yourself enough to release at the right time and click at the right time, and then do the straight fly? There we go. We did that. Nice. We did the whole ship. Dude, this next part looks so impossible. I don't know how I'm going to do this from 0 whenever I go for this. Because, like, what is that? It's all blind. Like, come on. This level is definitely more of a test of nerve control and just, like, your mental fortitude more than any type of mechanical skill. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, I did that ship once. Let's go. Yeah, the quality of this level is just going downhill. It's like once you get to Shalom, it's over. Even before that, once you get to that 30 ball, the first 30% was nothing compared to any of this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then into the ship. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh, okay, you can't land there. That was almost pretty good. Yeah, that ball's not too bad. I thought from 0, obviously, this would be really difficult. All right, so I think the strat is going to be to do an extra ball click, so I'm already upside down. Because, yeah, if you do the extra ball click, then you're just at risk of dying there. But that made that so easy, though. That's the thing. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to do this click, because I like the transition going into the ship when I do the click correctly. Look at that. Okay, I've heard this ending's pretty hard, and I see why. Because even if you mess up the timings a little bit, it's over. Like, you can mess up a timing just barely. Like, just enough so that you still survive, but then you're misaligned for the next one. It's still over. It doesn't matter. Nice. There we go. A little 91-100 did pretty much the entire last cube. Actually, that may have been the last cube. I don't know what that was. All right, a little under 900 attempts, like 50 minutes, because I was trying to do like somewhat small runs. I wasn't trying to just brush through this as fast as possible. I definitely will be doing that for Slaughterhouse, though. But yeah, for the level, I mean, it's not very good. I do understand why it's frustrating now, because it seems like the first 30% is like somewhat okay, maybe a little bit boring, and then it just goes downhill from there. But yeah, that's about it for Hard Machine. I will see you guys tomorrow for Slaughterhouse. I am not looking forward to this, but it doesn't matter, so we got to do it. Gotta play this shit now. Where is this on the list now? Is it 15? Is that where it is? 14, yeah, number 14 on the list. Okay. Yesterday I did get 22 to 100 on the Golden, so I'm like basically good enough to beat this right now, so this really shouldn't be too bad. It's just more gonna be annoying, you know? I am using the replacement song because the original, well, 1, it's copyrighted, and 2, it's ass. I've never played this level, like, not once, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me. This is gonna be pretty rough. I've heard this pre-drop is incredibly boring and also very difficult, because most of it's like 0 CPS, and the clicks are hard too. You can't blame Icecape too much, because how do you make gameplay to the pre-drop of the song? And it really does add to the difficulty of everything past the drop. All right, those jumps are really not bad at all. Wow, okay. But yeah, having to sit through that every attempt, and this too, the auto section, oh man, this would be brutal to play from 0. Whether you love or hate this level, you gotta admit, this really revolutionized top level play. Helix said during one of my streams that this is when players grew balls, and honestly, I could not put it any better. Because up until this point, what were the hardest teams? It was like the Tartarus, the Golden, Zodiac, Kinos, Crimson Planet top 5, and it was like that for a year. Literally an entire year, the top 5 did not change. So we really needed something to push the skill level, and like this level, it did a great job at doing that. This really should have been no surprise to anyone that this level was the one that won. Slaughterhouse really is the embodiment of top level play, because I think up until Slaughterhouse, most of the top levels were very choke point carried. When this, it's like everything is difficult past the drop. Of course, there are choke points in the pre-drop, like I'm mentioning here, like this jump and then the Silent Club step 1, and some parts in the drop are harder than others, but it's just like, it's difficult all the way through. It's not like Tartarus, the previous top one, which was just incredibly choke point carried, or Zodiac, you know, the top one before that was also choke point carried. I guess Kinos is technically a former top 1 now, and that's super individual part carried. I know levels are still choke point carried to this day, but back in the day, like, it was only choke point carry levels. People didn't really know what was possible back then, so in order to make a level hard, they just made individual parts hard and not the entire thing as a whole. Okay, that was a sick run. What was that, 18 to 26? That's the best run I'm getting all day. Yeah, as I was saying, like, individual parts of levels were super hard. Like, look at Zodiac, look at Tartarus. It's like individual parts and individual clicks. Whereas this, you get to the drop, and it's like every single click is impressively difficult. I think it's completely fair to not like this level, but it really did a lot for the top level playing scene. Okay, so like I said, I've never played this once, so I think I am gonna have to use speed hack just to get through this. Maybe I'll use speed hack just to learn some parts, and then I'll try to do some very super small runs. I don't know. I'm not really super set on trying to do like 10% runs like I was on hard machine. My initial plan was to do small runs. And I even wanted to do Cuber to 100 or like Cuber to last click or something like that. But I've run out of time. This video is going to come out tomorrow for channel members. So I just got to get through this. So yeah, we're going to use speed hack just to learn this for now. And maybe I'll try to do from here to like the spam part. I think another thing I like about this level is you can tell why it's difficult. Like I remember the video of Ludwig reacting to this and he was looking at the pre-drop and he was like, oh, maybe I could do this. You know, it'll only take a couple days. And then as soon as it got to the drop, he just went speechless. Like you don't need to be an expert at this game to realize why this level's hard. I think that was a big thing with Zodiac. Like I remember when I was terrible at this game, I didn't understand why Zodiac was top 1. It's not that I didn't believe the players when they said it was top 1. I just didn't understand. Like I didn't, it just doesn't look that hard to someone who can't perceive difficulty very well. I heard everyone say that it was a mental challenge, but like it doesn't look that hard. And it's like people were beating it at such low attempt counts. It's like, why, how could it possibly be really that bad? But with a level like this, like you look at this and you're like, oh yeah, I see why this was top 1. No, oh my god, okay, at least I got to the mini wave. Bro, I died on this release at least 15 or 20 times, bro. I've actually been sitting here for over 30 minutes. Dude, that was so frustrating. This release is so stupid because look, there's an invisible hitbox here. I can confirm at least that this is the most frustrating list even because I did get frustrated while playing this during this experiment. I was really hoping to at least get to the spam, but I mean, look, it's all right. I did okay. I do kind of want to try this ship. I'm not gonna like sit here and make myself do it, but I feel like even this straight fly would be too much for me. I don't know, this is just so hard. Okay, I just almost did it. That's not too bad. Okay, I'll take that actually. The raw difficulty of this wasn't as hard as I expected, but I mean, you're doing this from 0 after doing that wave, that's gotta be really tough. And this isn't even really known for being the hard part, it's this gap right here. I cannot believe that thing is in the level. I've heard that this part is complete RNG, because like, okay, actually I did it first try, so that's pretty cool. Oh, almost did the ball too. Yeah, this is the ball that everyone says got messed up by 2.2 because of the orb priority. Really wasn't, it's not too bad. Like this, oh man, it's more of a nerve control. It's like a don't choke thing. So now we get into the hardest part of the level. We get to River's part. I don't know what's more iconic, River's part or the first monster in Slaughterhouse, but either way, like when you think of Slaughterhouse, you think of this. This part is absolutely brutal. Everyone says this is the hardest part, either this or the transition into the drop. But like, man, these clicks are all brutal. I'm not even gonna try to do this because like I said, I don't have a lot of time. Some people say this part gets stupidly consistent, but other people say this never gets consistent. Like I was watching a lot of Choplox's streams when he was jumping to Slaughterhouse and he was really struggling with River. He was saying like, look, if you expect to get past it your first attempt there of the session, like you're crazy. Like you're setting yourself up for failure. Going back to the thing about old levels being choke point carried, with levels like this, this really just showed the community that you don't need break parts. Sure, there are some breaks like the ball right before this, and I've heard some parts in Iris are kind of a break as well, but you don't need to go like 10% without having something ridiculous. This level showed the community that top players were capable of so much more than they were giving themselves credit for. Oh, there's a big hitbox right there. I did not know that was there. Okay, here we go. Now we get to the UFO that everyone complains about. Let's see, what's so bad about this UFO? Oh, that does not seem consistent at all. Okay, I'm picking up what they're all putting down now because that's such a sudden transition and it's right after the hardest part as well, so you're probably going to be a bit shocked when you get here. Yeah, wow, this is tough, man. I cannot imagine doing this, especially as a hardest. No, I just realized I was supposed, oh my god, no, I messed something up for the video and it's actually way too late to go fix it. I meant to ask everyone whether they did the levels that they chose as a hardest or not, because that, oh my god, I was gonna have a whole segment about how new hardest can be more frustrating to go for. Oh man, oh well, you guys will just have to pretend like it was there. Dude, these first couple of clicks into Iris, like this looks so menacing, dude. Oh my god. Then we get this straight fly, which I've heard is very awkward. Again, I'm not, you know what, let's give it a shot. We'll give it a couple of attempts. I'm really not good at straight fly. Like it's probably my worst skill. I could do it just long enough to beat the levels that I've been able to beat. Okay, never mind, it's free. Like I did it once from here, so I could definitely do it from 0. Yeah, it's not gonna be, it's a short level. It's not gonna be any harder from 0, so this is fine. Yeah, maybe I am good at straight fly. Thank you, the golden. Dude, something I've never talked about, but it really irks me, is that I hate going for levels that start with the. Because whenever I want to talk about a part in the golden, it sounds so stupid. Because I can't just say the golden's first wave, the golden's last ship. Like, yeah, you have to say the part first like that. It's so annoying. Like with Slaughterhouse, you can just say the Slaughterhouse first wave, the Slaughterhouse last cube. With the golden, nope. You have to sound like an idiot saying the multiple times in a row. And then if you stutter, you're saying it like 3 times. It's a disaster. All right, but anyways, this is by far my favorite part of the level. I love the gameplay in Cuber's part. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I really wanted to do Cuber's part to 100 for this video, but I don't have the time, unfortunately. I really do think I will do Cuber's part to 100 one day. Oh yeah, I don't know why I thought there was a D block there. What did I think I was playing? Cold Sweat? No, come on. This right here is brutal, that the slope doesn't go all the way down, so you just have to like guess where to go. Oh my god, it's so much harder to line it up when the slope doesn't go all the way down. I just cannot imagine having to not choke Iris to straight fly from 0. And then once you get past the straight fly, now you have to do that. This level's just brutal. It's almost out of the top 15 too, which is really scary. If anyone's watching this who's beaten Slaughterhouse, can you tell me, like, do the levels at the very bottom of the list feel absolutely free? Because I remember when this was placed at number 1, it, like the bottom of the list, oh, what even was at the bottom of the list? Hold on, let's go take a trip over to Point of Crate. Slaughterhouse was placed on November 4th, 2021. Okay, let's go to the time machine, go to 2021, November, and we'll do the 5th just to make sure it was really on there. Yeah, Slaughterhouse, Firework, Tartarus. Okay, there we go. Yeah, like stuff like Dolos and 211 were list worthy. That's actually nuts. It's funny because I've beaten both of these levels, so I know like roughly how hard they are. And like, where was the golden? The golden was number 6. It just got pushed out of the top 5. Dude, that's crazy. So, oh my god. So it's like, I know how big that gap is between 146, 147, and then number 6. If I were to do a level in this difficulty range now, it would take probably like 6k attempts, 7k attempts. Like, that's really nothing. So I'm assuming it still works like that. Like, if you're able to beat top levels, the bottom of the list just feels so ridiculously easy. The bottom of the list actually used to be so free, dude. Like, it's not even funny. Back in like 2020, 2019, when you like, people could do list demons as their like second extreme demon. But now, even though list demons, they're probably still relatively free to stuff like this, they're a lot more difficult. Like, you can't just jump right into list demons like you used to be able to. If there was a stock market for list points, the value would just keep on skyrocketing, just up and up and up and up and up. This community always has the conversation of, oh, the list is getting too hard, the list is way too hard. And in a way, like, they're right, because the gap between entry extreme demons and entry list demons is just, it's growing exponentially. But also, I feel like top players probably don't feel like that because they just think that the bottom of the list is free. I don't think we'll ever have a point where the list demon, like, top level play is too hard that people don't want to play it anymore. Like, that's not going to happen. Maybe at some point, but that's just kind of when, like, the game will have to die. It'll have to stop getting updated, and the general interest for the game will have to decline. But as long as the game keeps getting harder, I don't think that's going to happen. So it is a good thing that the game keeps getting too hard. Oh, let's go. I fluked the last 2 jumps. I'm so crazy. There we go. Look at that. Just like Hard Machine, I did 91 to 100. Oh, it took 1,500 attempts because I was sitting at the first wave for so long. But yeah, so that's Slaughterhouse, the most frustrating level in Geometry according to this experiment. I'll be the first to admit that this experiment was not perfect. I wouldn't be surprised if there is another extreme demon that's generally more frustrating than Slaughterhouse, and it just hasn't been played enough, or maybe people are just too biased for Slaughterhouse because everyone did it as a new artist. So let me know down in the comments your opinions on this experiment as a whole, and also let me know, what is the most frustrating level you've ever played? It doesn't have to be an extreme demon, doesn't even have to be one you've beaten. Just what is the most frustrating level you've ever had the displeasure of playing? I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun to make. This is probably the most fun I've ever had making a video. So I hope it showed, and I hope you guys really liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a channel member, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.